Very good evening. And also, greetings to everyone who are also viewing via streaming. I gather that all of you have a good session, of taking the soju once again, and once again it's a great pleasure to have the chance to meditate the Chenrezig once again together. And just like yesterday, of course, we are trying to use this occasion or moment to meditate a little bit and to see what we can make the most of this occasion. And so therefore, as I said in the first day, that meditation can be seen as something very practical and simple, actually, and not something really, really complicated. And this is something that we have to tell ourselves, almost like a drill, that is not something that, how to say, we have to force ourselves to do, but it's only in the initial period. It's only in the initial period that we have to sort of. It's like if you haven't tried a certain dish, let's say, or a certain fruit, then we have to take up the courage to try. Like maybe durian, you know. For me, it was a little bit alarming. At the end of the day, it tasted very similar to banana, actually. Yeah, it wasn't that different. But nevertheless, the hype that comes with it is such that you almost develop a sense of fear in a way, of what it might happen. And so, in the same way, meditation, practice, application of the various practices that comes with it, yes. There are a few things that might seem very foreign to us, and therefore feel that is it really applicable? How can we really manage it, and so on. And so therefore, it's possible that it's within the first few days or months or years where we feel a little bit intimidated. But once we overcome that particular experience, then it's possible that actually it becomes very, very natural to us. Because we will kind of realize that the meditation is something that, the so-called meditation is something that we do quite regularly, actually, without even realizing it, you know. There can be many, many occasions where actually we are almost in a meditative state. And from all of them, probably one that where we can almost say there is a meditative state is that where we are doing something that almost feels not exactly like an escape from everyday experience, but somewhere close to it, where basically we're enjoying. Yeah. Enjoying it to a point where it's not so much as sort of having the occasion to sort of satisfy our craving, you know, not in that sense. But in a way, there's something that happens regularly, every day, where it's easy, where it's normal. And so therefore, once again, I talk about, I will promote the idea of breathing, the idea of the functioning of our organs. And this is something that takes place day in, day out, no matter what kind of state we are in, actually. Yeah. And it's almost an experience to a point where we cannot really say, or where we cannot really sort of put a label on it and say it's enjoyable, you know, it's pleasurable, you know. Yet at the same time, it's something that takes place all the time. Yeah. Maybe, of course, we can say that this is something that is a part and parcel of being alive, and therefore, if you are deceased, then such experiences will not exist, and so on. Of course, all those are part of debate, but nevertheless, what I'm trying to say is, as an example, is that it's something similar to it, meditation, you know. It's something that takes or occurs where there is no real extra effort. Just as the rising of the sun or moon or stars, I mean, they're not really rising, are they? Yeah. Actually, it's just the positioning of the globe or the orbit of it, of the planet, that it seems to give that very optical illusion that it is rising and setting. Yes, but we can, from for ages we are able to sort of. It's almost practical in a way, that as if that is some sort of an activity, you know, that there is a sense of rising and setting. And so, in a similar way, breathing is actually just like that. Yeah. Yes, when we are conscious, when we feel a little bit a sense of difficulty in breathing, maybe we might force ourselves to breathe, you know, or if we are ill. But beside that, actually there is no real force there that is taking place. What's really happening is just the air just seems to sort of either drop or fall in or settle in into the lungs. and similarly, as we exhale, more or less the same thing that is happening, And it's only when we pay attention to that occurrence, that rhythm, that repetition, then we feel that somehow there is a sense of force. But beside that, actually, it's just like the rising and setting of this sun. It's just, I don't know, mental illusion, I suppose. Just like the optical illusion. And so, therefore, the lungs expanding and so on. It's pretty much the same, actually. Yet at the same time, there seems to be something happening, And through this, then we are able to experience everything. It contributes to our thought process, our physical well-being, whatnot, So, meditation, the term meditation, the practice, the method, is something that happens to come about because we have a habit of, for example, saying, "Oh, the sun is rising and setting," or "I'm breathing." So, in that sense, in order to sort of complement that aspect of happening, then we say, "Now I'm meditating," and now I'm not meditating. And then of course through that, then it makes scheduling probably more practical, to have a sense of a formal sense of, okay, now I'm meditating. But actually, it's just like the breathing. Actually, the meditation takes place all the time. It's just that we don't realize it. And so, in a similar way, then, such as the idea of realizing that, I have a caring aspect or a caring sense, and when we beautify that more and more, then we say, okay, I have a sense of enlightening nature, or as we say, Buddha nature, same thing. Actually, it's always sort of present, not in a sense of either permanent or the opposite of it, but without having to be labeled, just like the rising and setting of the sun, breathing in and out, same thing. That it's I suppose there's no other way to say it, but to say that it's present. And so, in that sense, then how we will come at the end, where we will arrive, to say, okay, now someone is enlightened, or have, or that I'm awake, is basically realizing that it was due to that dependency of that optical or mental illusion that we felt that there was a sort of an on and off switch, but actually at the end that there really wasn't. That the awakened state or that wisdom or that caring aspect has always been there. It's just the social upbringing that we have had that somehow, not exactly block, but creates that very illusion, And so therefore we feel that at the moment I'm ordinary, I'm such and such, I am this person, that person, I'm this ego, that ego, and so on. Yeah. So it's actually very simple. And so, as I said, during the first sort of attempt, because of the social upbringing, we feel a little bit tentative in terms of whether I can do this or not, because it sounds too foreign. Even though we have been meditating or practicing for some time, we have not yet let go of that fear, actually. Yeah. It's a sort of a symptom, It's not so much as sort of I have so much ego, or I have so much ignorance, or I have that much of karmic debts to yet to pay, and so on. It's more of that that aspect of being quite nervous, actually, of basically not being able to let go of that particular upbringing. Yeah. Of course, in some ways, probably it's easier said than done. That sometimes maybe such habits are so strong, that that if you calculate, maybe within this life, or within this one lifetime, maybe it's difficult to let go. And so in order to sort of make sense of that, because of course now we want to make sense of that, we don't want to panic, And so therefore now we want to sort of give reasons, give meanings as to why this is the case. And that's when the idea of karma, the idea of rebirth is really just a method to help us combat against that. Yeah. Because, of course, no real Buddhist is stuck with that idea of karma, causality, and so on. Yeah. When one begins to understand, I suppose, something like the way things are, is that then one begins to understand that it's not all about being fearful and following the spiritual law, that of karma all the time. But we respect the idea of karma. We respect the idea of rebirth and so on, because it has the ability to calm ourselves down, and basically relax, And so the idea of karma, is it's just basically relaxing in some ways. Hopefully, I don't know how relaxing it will actually be. Because if it was real, let's say, then once again we are back to square one. If the thing called karmic law is real, then once again we're back to square one. If rebirth is real, then we're back to square one. Yeah. It's only a method. It's only a gateway. It's only a solution, to combat against the various emotions that we have accumulated over actually a very, very short, or within a very small span of time, actually. Yeah. But emotions can be gathered, or confusions can be gathered within a very, very simple, or within a very short period. It's possible. And very powerful, very strong. It doesn't need years or months. One simple confusion can lead to so many confusions, And in that sense, in order to disentangle from that, or to unknot that, logically speaking, if you calculate, it could take, lifetimes after lifetimes. And therefore, then we say that it's possible. How? Because, according to memory, there were, or according to concept, that there was such thing as yesterday and yesterdays and tomorrow and tomorrows, and so in that sense we can manage, and therefore we sort of calm down, But actually, it's in reality, of course, or if you really think about it from a very calm state of mind, it's quite, as they say, arbitrary or meaningless, actually. Yeah. And so, in this case, now coming back to meditation, we use these occasions, of course, and we use very particular methods. Of course, in here, that of Chenrezig, to hopefully trigger something in us. It's almost like using the very component that confused us, meaning the very concepts that we are so familiar with are, of course, in a way, a form of distraction. And so in this case, we cannot really use a completely different method to combat against that. Instead, we use, I don't know anything about judo. Actually, I don't know what really judo is. I suppose it's a form of kung fu, is it? I don't know. But I heard that it's something about using the very energy against itself. Maybe to that extent, maybe I'm a little bit there. So it's just basically using the very distraction against the very distraction itself. So something like that. And so therefore, obviously, the whole process of visualizing and the whole sort of mental formation that sort of takes place, all of it, it's obviously it's wasting time, But in this case, we use it against itself. And by doing it so, something might hopefully happen, I said sometime in the past that it's sort of like putting up the sails. That from our part, what we do is put up the sails so that should the conditions be there, then we will catch the wind, So, something similar, yeah. All we do is we distract ourselves from our daily distractions, So actually, we're not really doing anything momentous or newsworthy or anything, actually. Yeah. As some strangers might see it, we are basically wasting time. And so we waste the next 1 hour or so by distracting ourselves from everything, from everything that is good, actually, in this case, yeah. Meaning, maybe we could spend the next 1 hour doing a lot of good things, doing a lot of productive things, helpful things, meaningful things. We can maybe save someone's life, maybe, or lives. Or we could, I don't know, socially, politically, do many good deeds, yes? So we even let go of that, then not mentioning all the other things, where we could just simply chit-chat and pass the time. We let go of that. And then, of course, furthermore, we let go of very activities through our body, speech, and mind that frustrates us, that confuse us, that makes us sad, that makes us sort of yeah. So from all of the we basically distract ourselves from all of that. In short, yeah, there's probably no better way to say it. And by doing so, what does happen, actually? Okay, we might be able to recite a certain number of, complete a certain number of sets of the mantra of 6 syllables. Great. The 6 syllables definition are great. Then the whole process, starting from taking refuge, generating bodhicitta, focusing on the 4 immeasurables, then recalling the spiritual friends or guides or teachers, and then finally settling on the magnificence of the Buddha or Bodhisattva of compassion, and then the whole meditative state. Then, of course, finally arriving to the recitation of the mantras, and then once again dissolving all of that. Beautiful, So after all that, are we really gaining something? Are we really sort of making a difference? The very truth is something that probably by now all of you know is not really. Yeah. Nothing has happened, actually. Yeah. The only thing that has happened, if you were able to do it according to the practice, is that we have probably created a moment of pause, I suppose, in some ways. Or we have spent the next 1 hour or so without being distracted by various things. Yeah. That much probably is the reality. Yeah. And so now within that frame, does something happen or take place? We don't know. It's all up to ourselves. Yeah. But creating that sort of vacuum, I don't know, is creating that vacuum by doing a lot of things, yeah, visually or verbally by reciting the text, physically due to our posture and sitting posture and so on, breathing techniques and so on. Something may have happened here. And as I said, it's like putting up the sails, and so therefore there is always that possibility that to each and every one of us that maybe we'll be able to realize that that this is all for the sake of that very moment, yeah, done solely for the sake of that very moment. And so if we can really measure 1 hour, if you can measure 1 minute, if you can measure 1 second or nanosecond, if there is a way to measure it, then in short, it's just we have given ourselves to enjoy that particular moment, yeah. And that's all there is. And just like sort of the sudden realization that for let's say such and such years old, or have lived this many years for this many years, and just like the sudden realization that all this while I have been breathing, and in a similar way, one could almost realize that all this time, actually, I've been enjoying, yeah. So one could realize that, and therefore somehow overcome the fact that actually it was a good occasion, it was a good moment, or in short, it was a good life in a way. But beyond that, not really to say something like it was a meaningful life, or a great life, or a colorful life, or a legendary life, and so on, But to suddenly realize that I have been living, actually, I have been living all this time, just like I have been breathing, and it may be such a realization can be extremely ordinary, and therefore feel, in a glance, almost feel that it amounts to nothing. But actually, it can either now or later, it can be a wonderful realization that this is conceptually how I understand it. Yeah, I will not say out of my wisdom I realize it that way, but conceptually, even conceptually, it can be very, very meaningful. That as a sort of what do you call it, attachment, or in a form of decoration, attachment in the form of decoration. Yes, there have been very many experiences in the form of obstacles, uh, financial, health, crisis, and so on. But nevertheless, how to say, all this while, no matter how challenging it was, I have breathed, I have lived in a way. Yeah. So in a similar way, then if you now sort of put together the idea of one rebirth, in the past, then maybe a few more, a few hundreds, a few thousands, to a point where a few eons and so on, then we have lived, we have breathed that far, we have lived that far. And so therefore it's a sort of, I'm not trying to say something cliche, but it's something to celebrate in a way, And so doing the practice of Chenrezig for this occasion it's a sort of a hopeful thing, it's a wishful thing. To hopefully we can sort of catch that kind of wind, by putting up the sail through the practice. Because beyond that, there is not much actually. Yeah. Of course, we could think that the everyday sort of responsibilities that we have, they seem daunting, yet at the same time they seem really realistic, to a point where it sort of overshadows everything, And we don't have to sort of disrespect that thought, no problem. Yes, life, that everyday life occurs, no problem. Yet at the same time, we can give ourselves this, we can allow ourselves this chance to realize that, as I said, I have breathed, and that I have lived. And that, in that sense, then there is almost no real regret in a way. And then, of course, we can apply that in a sense if we are excited about the idea of future or tomorrows, then the possibility of being able to breathe in the very next moment, then minute, hour, days, and so on, it's also interesting and exciting in a way. Yeah. So, all in all, I don't know if all of that really sounded that simple at the end, but nevertheless, it could be. Yeah, it could very well be that simple. And therefore, I would say, if you feel that it's worth my time, not just during this formal occasion, but whatever chance is there to experience the present moment, it's something that is really enjoyable. Yeah. Meaning that the idea of that journey of having to awake, to liberate all sentient beings. That is a language that is created according to our emotions, Yeah. Probably a good emotion, yeah, because obviously there are those wonderful glimpses where we feel how to say, where we care, let's say. There are those moments, and it feels so natural. It feels wholesome to be able to clear confusions, to be able to be there for someone or more. Yet at the same time, we feel that even such a thing is a sort of a task in a way, And so in this case, through this meditative state or practice, we'll be able to see that it's not a task, It's something that we can very simply do without having to be a challenge or something like that. Yeah. So now, having said all that, then I would like to invite all of you to join me in the meditation. Yet at the same time, with all the things that I've said, because there was no real order or organization, and so therefore maybe some of the things I've said may have confused you, and so therefore if you have just one or two questions directly related to the topic, then you're most welcome, Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so it's very clear. That's good. Okay. Directly related to the subject? Yes.
Yes. Yesterday you say it's up to you to awaken.
Yes.
Regarding meditation, is it a tool to awaken?
Yes.
Regarding doing meditation and trying to awaken all sentient beings, is it really possible?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just an idea? I mean, how to conceive all that?
Yes.
That's my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, it's yes, the idea of all sentient beings, I will probably go that way, is that if you have if you are very confident about the self, me, being here, then meaning separately existing, let's say, separately, like an individual existing. Then, meaning I'm here, this is my body, this is my constitution, these are my thoughts, this is my voice, like that. If you feel that way, strongly if you feel that way, then right there and then we have opened the door to the idea of all sentient beings. Yeah. Meaning, if I'm here, then everybody is here, sort of thing. It's very equal, you know. It's very logical. Yeah. And that's why I think it's actually a very practical way of thinking, you know. That if one can liberate this individual, that's all there is, you know. And so therefore that's why we say, you know, the individual liberation practices are emphasized in that manner, you know. Rather than going out there, you know, into different directions and trying to deal with things, which is very, very adventurous and very exciting. But the shortcut is here, you know. The shortcut is this one particular individual. We really don't know whether this individual is really me or not, but at least we have established that. And so if we take care of this one individual, then it is almost as good as having taken care of all sentient beings, you know. And I don't know if this is a direct illustration of that, but in the Buddhijaya Avatara, the way of the Bodhisattvas by Shantideva, just as a sort of, during the preface, Shantideva says that I have composed these teachings or this composition I have made is mainly for myself and not for others, you know. That to a point where it raises many questions whether he is a Bodhisattva or not. Because a Bodhisattva is supposed to think of all sentient beings, all others. And so in this case he says, it's I've done this for myself, you know. And on one sense, I think one could see this as being very honest and direct, and not being ambitious or anything. Yet at the same time, it's not really sort of deviating from the bodhicitta, you know, of helping all sentient beings or saving all sentient beings. But what he's really trying to say there is that there is no real saving that is needed, you know. All one needs to do is just understand that how did this idea of an individual comes into being, you know, and that itself is already very, very fascinating. And so if one can solve that issue, or if one can overcome that, then it is as good as having saved all sentient beings. Yeah. And so therefore I think sometimes when we say the school of Theravada, although of course according to many traditions known as the Hinayana, yeah, gets sort of a certain reputation where it's not really wholesome, you know, is that it's not that they don't have compassion, it's not that they don't think of the benefit of others. But in this case, it's something similar. They're very honest, they're very direct, you know, and they see that how to say, everything is generated from that one particular concept, you know, that there is someone or something like that, yeah, or there is something, you know, and so therefore they are very sincere about sort of taking care of that, yeah. So now when we sort of sort of when we create a lot of attachments around it, or let's say decorate around it and make it more beautiful and to define that in a better way, then we have things like Mahayana and so on, you know. But otherwise, it's really sort of focusing on that one very, very fascinating thing. Yeah. That to have the ability to say, I, you know, me, myself, and it's not a bad thing at all, you know. It's a very good form of, a good tool of communication. Just like as I said yesterday or day before, meditation is a very good form of, is a very good tool. Yeah, very good tool. But even though it's such a good tool, it can be misused or abused. I mean, of course, the abusing of it doesn't go that far because at some point you will get caught, you know, if you abuse it. But where it's sort of more destructive is if you really believe that it's real, you know, meaning the idea of self. Then you can create lots of hallucination, you know. In this case, if I really believe that there is the self or me, then logically all sentient beings are out there. Then if they are really out there, then it becomes an impossible task to save. That and the same. Then that sort of begs the question of thinking, wow, if there are that many enlightened beings, why aren't all sentient beings saved? You know, yeah. And so therefore, it's therefore it is said it's a tool, it's a method, it's a gateway, and what we really need to focus on is sort of overcoming probably the seeing the tool as nothing but a tool. Yeah. You know what I mean?
When you say it's up to you
Yes.
to wake,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
that's you know.
Yes.
Then you just think,
Yeah.
I don't see so many people who really succeed around me.
Yeah.
So at the same time, just to practice a meditation, does it really work?
Yes.
Because I don't really see the result.
Yes.
So what is it really?
Yes. Yeah, up to ourselves, meaning that it's our freedom. You know, we like the idea of free will. Yeah, that we are not dictated by something or someone. You know. And so therefore in this case it's up to us, meaning that it's our freedom, it's our privilege, it's our luxury, you know. And so the meaning of it is basically saying that there is no expectation, yeah. Meaning often any kind of concept almost comes together with some form of expectation, you know. Maybe through the negating word, or I don't know. That if we say, for example, hello, there's the expectation of having to say hello, you know. Or if you say how are you, or good morning, then if we are quite philosophical, then we really don't know how to answer that. That's a good one from that Hobbit, where Gandalf says good morning to Bilbo, and then Bilbo doesn't quite know how to answer that back, you know. What do you mean by good morning, you know? Anyway, in short, we almost feel like even the most basic things that we can think of, that it together with it, that something comes together with it, that there is a sense of agenda, you know, that there's a plan. There isn't, yeah. It's just that, yeah. So sometimes those things happen, yeah, more spontaneously, you know. Like I don't know, we fall and then we say, "Ow," you know. Now in that moment there isn't, yeah. But beside that, almost whatever we say, we almost have to think twice. What do you mean by that? You know, is it something philosophical, or you know, is there a double meaning? And so therefore, there is no real. When we say awakening, there is no real double meaning. Yeah. And so, in order to ensure that there is no double meaning, to say it's up to us, you know, so that the whole idea of enlightenment has a price. Enlightenment has is a gift, you know. That's very scary, you know. You don't know if it's really a gift, or that there is something scary behind that, you know. So there is no exchange, yeah, in short. So enlightenment or awakening is up to us, which is to say, basically, just like, "Ow," you know. As plain as that, yeah. And so therefore it's our privilege. If you feel I don't know, if you feel pain or something, and if you happen to respond to that in a vocal way, it's our privilege, you know, nothing more. Yeah. That there is no prize or reward or anything, you know. And so therefore it's completely up to us whether we want to be awake now or later. It's completely up to us, yeah. And in that way it becomes more, hopefully, more relaxing, you know, more free, yeah. And yeah, that's the whole point. Okay. So the man with the
How do you make the gift?
huh?
How do you make the gift?
Gift.
Yes, you said make the gift. How do you make it?
I don't know. Like, I can imagine you wearing something red and saying "ho ho ho," you know. know. What you're lacking is the belly, yeah, but otherwise, yes. Yeah.
From what I have understood, but I think I'm wrong. If we are able to reach Chenrezig Pure Land, then we won't be able to make. Then we should be enlightened, first Bhumi, and then we won't be able to make new wishes because there will be no more I.
Okay.
Is it true?
Sorry, could you repeat the whole question again?
It just looks stupid, but I'm not sure. It looks like beings who reach first Bhumi through going to Pure Land of Chenrezig
Okay.
have no more I mean,
Yeah.
so they can't do any more wish. So then we should, if you want to become a Buddha, we shouldn't go there. Shouldn't we?
You mean that there is no desire to help?
No, there is desire to help, but then there is no more wish.
Okay.
Is it correct? I missed something.
Sorry, I'm confused.
Let's say we all go to Pure Land of Chenrezig.
Okay.
Then how can we become a Buddha after that? Because we didn't make enough wish.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I still didn't get it. But okay, I'll try. Did you get it?
I think the question is who would make the wish if one person is already in the Chenrezig realm and then achieves his first Bhumi. That's the question, I believe.
Okay.
Am I right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Nobody's home. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's the kind of amazing confusions one can gather. Yes. If you think in a philosophical way, yeah. So then, of course, you would wonder why there are, what do I say, Buddhist philosophies. There are such schools of this and that. Yes. And what's the benefit of it? In short, philosophies, whether it's Buddhist or not, the benefit of, I don't really know if it's really philosophy or not. In Tibetan, it's known as Trumta, in English, philosophy, I really don't know if it has direct connection with the word Trumta. I don't know. Trumta means something like sort of, it's sort of like a belief, I suppose, that it's like saying, I will only use one particular vehicle to get somewhere, like plane or boats or car or something, And the beauty of the philosophy, I'll come back to the point, but I'll just deviate a little bit there, of philosophy, or in this case is, I mean, if they are the same thing, then the point is that it's like saying, I mean, there are a lot of crafts, yeah, or arts, field of arts, where you use only your finger to paint, or you use I don't know what's that called. Not the brush, but there's a sort of a metal. Huh? Yeah, it's like knife. You say, yeah, yes, yes, craving, yes. Where you only use that to paint, you know. So philosophy is something like that. Yeah, where you use a very particular tool. Let's say I will only use this point of this tip to paint a whole art, you know. That's sort of like philosophy, you know, or trunta, yeah, something like that. So, can you describe something through that craft? It's difficult, very, very difficult, you know, because normally to paint, if you use all the tools, actually it will be easier, you know. But if I only use this tip, it will be very difficult. But it's not impossible. It's difficult, but it's possible. Yeah. So philosophy is something like that. So in the same way, as you said, yes, it is a dilemma, you know. If there is no self, or if there is no sort of individual to make the wish, yes, obviously it seems impossible. But you can create loopholes to say that it's possible, you know. And so, but that's just a philosophical art or game, you know. It's to exercise our brain, I suppose. Yeah. So it's possible. Yeah. But in everyday situation or in practical situation, we really don't have to think that far. Yeah. The idea of I don't know, becoming a bodhisattva, or being born in a pure land, or me being here, or enlightenment being somewhere. All of these are just sort of different types of brushes, you know. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it all comes down to, as I said earlier, that we realize that we are doing something very, very basic, but we didn't notice, you know, and we just find a cue to realize that. Yeah, such as the beating of one's heart, or the rhythm of breathing, you know, something as simple as that, which may have nothing to do with enlightenment at all, you know. It's just 4 different types of chambers going, and that's about it, you know. And yet at the same time, fascinating, you know. And just to get in line with that, and being able to sort of accept that, I don't know, that's what's happening, you know, goes probably a long way, yeah, than the philosophy. Yeah. So yes, philosophically, yes, it can go either way. On one way, maybe, as you said, maybe there is no way, you know, because there is no one out, no one inside to make the wish to save all sentient beings. Or on the other hand, it doesn't need one, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, last one. Yes. It's not on, I think, the mic.
Hello? Okay. Can you say something about the state of mind one can get into when one does a lot of mantras? You once called it makes you nutty in a good way. You once said,
Yeah.
how is that meant?
Sorry?
You once called it makes you nutty
Yes.
in a good way,
Yeah.
the state of mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, it's crazy to think, of course, that we are this particular social being, like me behaving this way, and all of us behaving in this way, where, from a particular point of view, sort of, as that saying goes, we are what we eat, And so therefore, if you think within the last 24 hours or 48 hours, what we ate and drank, because in order to sort of sustain what we think or who we think is me or us, is supported by what we ate and what we drank or what we breathed, And so if you really think about it, how to say, I'm not the water I drank, or the bok choy I ate, or the red rice I ate, It doesn't come out in that way, or whatever diet you've had so far. Yeah. Yet it's somehow it could sort of lead to exactly, or it would seem to lead to exactly where we are, or how we express right now. Yeah. So obviously it's completely nutty. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. It doesn't make sense at all. Yeah. None of this makes sense. So according to that, probably insects, animals, viruses, bacteria, probably they make more sense, whereas human beings just doesn't make sense at all, because it doesn't really seem to go in line with it. But is that a bad thing? Is that abnormal? Is that some sort of an abomination that we have to cure? And of course, there's no direct answer to that. But nevertheless, it's fascinating, and it's amazing in a way, that it is possible, that we can actually seem to exist, that we can seem to that I seem to be able to say something, and you seem to be able to hear something, And so therefore, actually, all of this is complete nuts. And so therefore, how to say, none of this makes sense. Yeah. But we seem to say, that's deep, or I think it makes sense, We do that all the time. Yeah. I mean, we are in a sort of an era or in a century where if there is enough definition or explanation or thesis to explain something, then we say that that's credible, you know. But actually, all those composition of words and pages and pages of written things has nothing to do with gravity, you know. The actual gravity is, I mean, the subject of gravity, let's say, you know, it's in its own right an amazing event, but we can theoretically write so many things about it, you know. Similarly, about our feelings or awakening or anything, you know. And so therefore, sometimes it is said that all of the compositions, you know, all of the compositions that has been written by such and such teacher or master or something, what we say in Tibetan sumbum, you know. Of course, to us is very precious, and we take great care of it and try to preserve it and practice them and use them. But actually, none of them has really anything to do with awakening. Actually, it was the composers themselves. They did it to have a lovely afternoon, you know. They had lots of time, particularly in the Himalayas. Then there's not much to do. So therefore, whenever they found some lovely papers, which was rare, of course, you know, they wanted to make the most of the paper, you know. And so therefore, they will write almost to the edge, starting from the very edge of the paper, all the way to the other very edge, and just fill it, you know, and write it. And if you have the skill to write it, you know. And so as a result, we have a lot of sumbums. Sure, a lot of them got destroyed through time and, you know, various events. Are they sorry about it? No, not one bit. It's that went into flames, that went under the flood, no problem. And nowadays we have plenty of paper or whatever, I don't know. So one can write, but yeah, nothing. All I'm saying is that it is truly very, very nutty. Yeah. None of these things make sense. Yeah. I'm not discrediting, for example, this place or these very beautiful tankas or these decors and so on in any way. Through a lot of hard work, time, energy, resources, all of these were managed, and now we are here. We are able to utilize this, you know. But does this really have anything to do with enlightenment? Most likely not. Yeah. And so, yeah, like that, almost with everything. Yeah. It's all nutty. Yeah. But if you can appreciate that, then yeah, maybe it's something. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So then the kitchen staff must be, yes. Anyway, most of you have taken the refuge vow, I mean the Sojong vow, yes. So it's diet, isn't it? Yeah. So then, once again, if you remember what I've said so far, or if they made sense, if they don't make sense, no worries. You can do the meditation according to tradition, use all the traditional informations you have to make this moment worthwhile. Whatever I've said so far is just my own opinion, and it's not something that you have to do or must do. Okay, and so therefore you do it as you please. Yes, and so yeah.
Dorje de loi nai roi dan Morai boy me loi je gai boy boy de zoi she jai gun jen my boy je join je boy je na my dan je lai da cha lai zu my pa lai den roi boy so sa lai chai jai Nhai men rơ gân đại bói gai dê lai Soi vai dê lai mai nam Dê bà rai dê nai nai Đà rai chê nên dê lai Xê lai Gang barai soin bai shen Sen noi gen lai chai shen me bai dam Tse dere de dai che be gom jen lam Nyen garai shen bai me barai shen jen lam Mungge Soin bai Ngoi dere goi che be lai mai la Jen doi zoi wai de be gom chen la Che me goi de warai chen de lo Ye me gom de bai shin Ai zai doi be ngo wai sai mai de Mai je de garai joi be gom chen loi Gom ja loi dan da lai warai chen je loi Nam doi ngoi wai che garai soin bai shin Chere yai mai charai wai lai Orang roi barai cha wei gom chen lai Korai de yere me doi barai chen je lai Ke wai gan de yan dai lai mai dan Da lai me je je ba lai lai je jen Sai dai lai je yan de ne rai zoi ne Do rai je jai je ge bai Nhớ rai doi shui San je che dai zoi je cho nai lai San zui para doi da ne ja zoi che Da je gom de je be se nan je Dolai Penjere Sanje Parai Shoy Sanje Chedai Zoje Chonai Lai Sanjoi Paradoi Dane Jasoi Che Daje Gomde Jebe Senanje Dolai Parai Shoy Sanje Chedai Zoje Chonai Lai Sanje Paradoi Dane Jasoi Che Daje Gomde Jebe Senai Je Dolai Penjere Sanje Parai Shoy Da Soi Ka Jai Sem Je Je Che Zoi Pe Kara Da Ve Deng Rele Pa Jai Je Re Se Kara Zalai Ve Zere Nga Den Choi Ze Zoi Toi Je 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 Se Choi Je Dan Boi Da La Jara Je Wanye She Je Be Gai Nan Da Lai Doi Ren Je Jen Je Je Re Dai Ba Be Te Yoi Sol Oi Boi Me Be Oi Jen Jen Shan Ye Dorje Je Joi Shu Che Me Da Wai Ja Den Bai Gyab Ne Wai Jarai Cho Wai Gen Je Ma Gui Gan Dai Gar Zo Zo Je Je Wu Lai Jen Dorje Chenrezig Lai Se Chenrezig Lai Cha Zai Lai Cho Wai Gen Ye Ma Gui Gan Dai Gar Do Zai Je Je Dorje Chenrezig Lai Se Chenrezig Lai Cha Zai Lai Cho Wai Gen Ye Ma Gui Gan Dai Gar Do Zai Je Je Wu Lai Jen Dorje Chenrezig Lai Se Chenrezig Cha Zai Lai Ba Bai Chenrezig Wan Dan Choi Choi De Zoi Shu Ba Ye Gyalwa Se Je Dam Je La Gun Dam Ve Cha Ca Lai Me Do Do Be Mara Me Che Cha La Ze Ra Ma La So Ba Wan Jara Ye Je Zhan Ne Bo Lai Pa Be Co Ye She So Sol Do Ma Me Ne Da De Me Je Je Da Ca Me Wa Sem Ne De Bai Dam Je Sha Ba Rai Je Nyen De Ran Je Lai Chan Je Sem Soi Soi Ke Wai La Soi Be Te Soi Ke Wai Che Soi Be Sen Mai La Ne Da Ye Ran Sem Je Nam Je San Bai Dan Lo Ye Che Da Che Da War Che Joy Da Moi De Ba Ye Che Je Kora Loi Kora Do So Loi Kora Wai Je Je Ma Doi Bar Nya Nye Dong Ai Ja Zui Je Wai Ye Sem Je nam la se so sol da je se no che so tam je chan jo jar jar ne ren bo me do zhe wa ye zhen be ba la do da jar je de da ra je je so la da pe pa be ko le se re che ma da le noi chu lai she jiang xie nen de wai qian jie xin nan zhi jian zhi le ai sen qian ren dong nan zhi zhe dong ye ren me jiu hoi ma ne be me hoi 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 oi mane be me 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 oi mane be mane be me oi 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 mane be oi mane be me oi mane be me oi mane be me oi mane oi mane be me hon oi mane be me oi mane be me hon oi mane be me oi mane be me hon oi mane be me 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 mane be me mane be mane be Dorje le noi pai bie ko Dorje ye ye cho bie yang Chen do ye ye chen boi loi ge wa de ye Do chere se wa drop jara Do wa che joy ma le ba te ye sa lai ge ba rai shoi de da rai gom de je be se nan je da 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 la me za le de ba ra wai jara mai da Devai chende jede jevara shoy kema dadu Trumbe chojo jendene jevara shoy Geva deye jevai kun Sona yeje chozo de Sona yeje Dhamma ganye tabarai shoy Wai mai ma dai ne je dhambarai jang Dhambe ngang le ye she ke Lo me de je de nye do Dhambarai sha ngai de je ngang lo me golo be dam je be de de ra bai we nye de ye je de de chen dang de er me om da ai wong ge che lai de ro cho men jul在觉罗摩耶当拉着谈，把我看着这种错觉场，对见那么真心的把来觉罗耶当，跟着在为拉玛去。观者跟的在为拉玛去去讲，观的在为拉玛去，也不来去讲别人的那啥钱，不来的拉玛让怎么家来玛呢？这阵可来到这把这把来这家来不那么。Teze ngaje da dorje lebo singwe shenjo dai karano dorje jalabo la soibe karama bai den bai jonam lai sa me shang ai de ze nga choi je Dorma za je pe za amre tai za je rat yen cha bai che parai she de ye nga da sa ve che ba tai de gu na ye gu na so che pe che Kye je jen da yen de zo ba de ne tsulo je je do be go som je de ba ma le ba ye de ba ra kye che la de so la ba ta ba ne da so gun la cho da to mo je ngoi zhe de la tsolo wa ta je baro je re ne me pal jaro je ye la sam je ke je zam ne la drum ne gar ma pa ye she ba kun da ke ma le nyor do je ba ta Karama baye de la ne je na da je thala wa shen de lo ba ye ne ba da da ni de za la do so la te da ra che de be ye wa de ma je zhe wa sem je dam je kuen zo be san je Goodbye, Dorje, Yamahoy, Guanzara Sanj, Nawa, Daye, Daye, Zojoy, Dorje, Chemboy, Don, Yenda, Semboy, Dubazene, Tona, Lai, Sanje, Janse, Pame, Koroje, Goror. De je ngazara ba do me ba ye de va je ja ve je ngam der da je de ne ze ba jar ma da ke va shen je bara ma che ba ro de ra je ne na de shala do sho de je da je me la da ba de cho je zan je jang zen dam je me de bara sen je la de so de ya da pen ja de ya avai ba da na So hai cho do Gyalwa se je go zo ni zo lai je ye ran jo san lai che ba bo lo Gyalwa denpa pe gyur je je wo sem je gu lai ngo Drog zon je do gyur je je za tam je che tu de Da shen gyu lai min gyur je jem je ta ne zo zo de Chere ne me nyam do e be che de sa je nan gyur je Na je ze be gyur ma da de wa chen do je gyur je Tene pe me ka che de le de la san je sho Chan jo do ne je ze do je be je ba je ba ra sho so na de ye tam je se ba ne Tom ne nye be da naman pam che de ke ga na che ba la ba choi ba ye se be cho le dro wa dro la wa ra shoi Chan cho se ne ren po che Ma de pa na ma ke joro je Ke ba nyan ba me